Hey, Joseph boy,
Yeah.
do you love fruit trees?
Yeah.
Anthony Chaya with Florala Gardens. Okay, today we're going to show what to do under your fruit trees.
And around.
And around. Yesterday it rained. Before, the soil was broken up, and the rain dissolves all of the little clusters of soil so that it becomes kind of a single mass. And if allowed to dry, it will become hard and impenetrable to air and water. So what we do is, as long as the soil is not too wet, we come in with a hoe and we stir and break up the soil under our fruit trees. Chopping up any weeds that are there. Turning it over, stirring it up, raking it out. The soil is now broken up. The rain will be able to find its way down into the soil very easily. If we didn't do this, it could potentially puddle on the top and then evaporate or even run off. Here, this will act like a sponge and just soak it in, feeding our tree. It also allows for a really nice transition of air and water through the soil, even coming up from deep. So this is like keeping a window open in your home or allowing the tree to breathe. Many bugs find the refuge either while they're living or while they're in the egg or larva stage in your soil. And so you're making an inhospitable environment by continuously turning it over. Your tree will be growing weed-free when worked this way. Another great advantage of working the ground around your fruit trees this way is that it brings you in close contact with the tree on a regular basis so that you can actually observe what's going on. You can respond to emergencies, and you can build a relationship with the tree where you'll know it. You'll know what it has been doing and what it's trying to do. And so it just makes the whole experience of caring for fruit trees much more intimate and enjoyable. Another advantage of the cultivation method that I really like is if you've been cultivating your fruit tree since it was young, you've pruned off the upper roots and encouraged the tree to put deeper roots. The deeper roots will get water in times of drought. They'll get minerals and other nutrients from down deep. And during extreme temperature changes, like the coldest days of the winter or the hottest, driest days of the summer, the tree will not be stressed because the soil gets hot or dry or cold from the top down. That's why they use geothermal methods, because at about 6 feet deep, this soil is the same temperature year-round. And if the roots are down in such a stable environment, this tree will be better off. Okay, some other options for what you could do under a fruit tree. Some people lay plastic. Usually when you put plastic down, it's more of a semi-permanent solution where you don't have to come and cultivate on a weekly or monthly basis to keep out the weeds and to keep the soil broken up. But you're blocking out the rain, and you're also potentially blocking out some airflow, and also could be producing some shelter for bugs and other things that could live under there. Mice like to live under plastic. Another method would be to, mulch. You can mulch instead of cultivate. And there could be a combination of mulch and cultivate where you put down, let's say, lighter mulch, like leaves from your forest, or even the leaves that you gather up in the fall from around your yard. You can put those under the fruit tree, and then you could just slowly cultivate those in as you have time. It might allow you to go a month or a month and a half without cultivating that fruit tree, and then you could come back and stir it in. If you have chickens and you've been able to put leaves or grass clippings or your compost under the fruit trees, they'll come and scratch and peck and dig around in that mulch to try to find bugs and to see if there's anything edible. And they can keep the bugs out. They'll eat the bugs as they find them, and they'll keep the bottom of your fruit trees stirred. So release the chickens into the orchard. Another option is just to let the grass go and try to mow and weed eat. The problem with that method is if you have low hanging branches like this, you'll need to prune them up higher so that you can get close enough with the mower to the fruit tree. That's certainly an option. The other thing is the close growing grass around your fruit tree will likely need to be dealt with by hand, either with a weed eater or a string trimmer, or by hand. And you could damage the trunk of the tree if the tree is still young and tender. Another option would be just to cover with a low growing plant. Some people plant clover or creeping thyme around their fruit trees. Another option would be to just plant flowers, something like we have right over here, where you have zinnias and other wildflowers just growing up around it. So that way, if you have things growing around your tree, at least it would be beautiful. Some people like to sow plants around their fruit trees for fertility purposes. So some people would put things like soybeans around the tree, or in the winter they would put ryegrass or cereal rye around their fruit tree. And then when they go to cultivate in the spring, they would then put in the plant material, and it would give a lot more bulk to their soil. Some people plant things like comfrey, which is a plant that goes down and gets a lot of nutrients from very deep, and it would provide it up here to the topsoil, which would then help keep the tree supplied of its nutrients as well as keep that soil broken up. Other people like the idea of planting something that would repel pests from their fruit tree. Something like planting garlic, which has that really strong smell, and that can be a stinky smell to some predators, the ones that prey on your fruit trees. And so some people like to plant garlic. Now let's just quickly talk about scale. You're planting a big orchard. It's one of the best things you can do for improving your land values, the supply for your family. Think about when you're older and what you want to eat. If you don't do something like a fruit tree in the small vegetable garden, every year at the end of your harvest, you harvest and you're left with a blank field. But with fruit trees, they can grow for a lifetime, many of them. And when you're older, you can come, and even without bending over all the way to the ground, you can pick and eat from your fruit trees. Doing something on a little bit larger scale. In those cases, one option would be to prune the tree appropriately and then to go through with some sort of cultivating or plowing mechanism, just plowing around your fruit trees instead of going through with just a hand hoe like this. So then you would be able to use something like tractors or animal-powered implements, like if you had horses or oxen or mules, something like that, you could go through and do a long row more efficiently. Whatever the case may be, I know that you have a mind, you can think, you can study. So if you have a method that I have not mentioned, then go ahead and share it down in the comment section so that the other viewers can see your suggestions and pick the one that's right for them. I hope this video has been useful and inspiring to you, and I'm looking forward to sharing more from Florala Gardens.